Welcome to Bet On It. I am Kelly Stewart. It is NFL Week 6. I have a big smile on my face. Why? Because the last weekend was absolutely excellent. Let's bring in our two experts, Marco D'Angelo and Gianni the Greek, gambler. You guys, I am so happy with how this worked out. Marco hit his sandwich game last night. I did okay on Monday Night Football. The Chargers got through for me. Marco, you finished 5-2 on the show. Go ahead and pat yourself on the back.
What's fun, Kelly, is when we win those games where you get a lot of crap during the week. And I was getting it for the, my Tennessee play for the sandwich game. And I'll tell you what, if I got a lot of flack for the Tennessee sandwich game, I'll wait till you hear the trap game this week. I might break Twitter, okay? I just might break Twitter this week.
I like it, VR. You too went 5-2 on the show. Give yourself a second to pat yourself on the back.
Yeah, and I came through with Tennessee yesterday and hit a prop bet as well for premium subscribers. But more importantly, I really salvaged Monday because going into that about 2 hours before kickoff, I started looking at the back end of a couple books I have access to, and I started seeing that Saints money coming in from very square accounts for big money. I mean, money line parlays, teasers, all kind of straight bets. And it started looking overwhelming. And that kind of saved me seeing that because I didn't see any of the books that I respect give that action any respect. I'm not talking about the ones on screen. I mean, some of the bookmakers off screen that I respect who book a lot of sharp stuff. And they weren't adjusting it. And that's when I said, wait a minute, I'm going to bet the under, but I'm going to bet the Saints on a teaser and open 3 of those up open-ended. And that ended up working out well there. They got the win in the end. But more importantly, before we go on, I just have to touch on this. And I will take a second to give my best bet because this is more important than anything else. I rarely ever get a chance I don't even look at comments or anything like this. But once in a while, I'll look just to see if I could share anything. And I couldn't believe what I read. So I have to bring this up. If you don't know you placed a good bet or a bad bet until the result, you have a big problem. Again, when I said last week that I care about beating the closing line, I focus on placing good bets, knowing that randomness will ultimately affect short-term results. If that doesn't sink in, then I don't know where to go, how more I could dumb this down. And please don't take that as any disrespect. But the best way I could put it is this. If I walk up to you tomorrow and say, you put up $1, I'll put up 100. Flip that coin, you call it. Are you going to take that bet? I'm giving you 100 to 1 on a coin flip. Your coin, so you know it's not fixed. You got to take that bet, right? If I win that bet, are you going to walk away saying you placed a bad bet? Or are you going to look for me every single day of your life and see if I'm willing to let you place that bet again because it's the best bet you were ever going to make? That's what I'm talking about. That's how you win long term, by finding that coin flip that gives you better than even money. Unfortunately, in most advantage plays, you're only going to get about a 1, 2, 3% edge at the most. In sports, you could get it up to about 5% after overcoming the hold, but it doesn't get better than that. Your best you're going to do is 55, 45, 57, 43. There's no certainty there. What you're doing is simply predicting probability. You're not predicting the outcome. You're predicting the probability of that outcome, the likelihood of it, not the actual, that's what's going to happen. And if that doesn't make sense, I'll try to be more simple, but I can't make it more simple than that the goal is to place good bets. And again, not to tout myself, but look at the tweet I retweeted Johnny put out. I've won every year at Wager Talk. So I know what I'm talking about. I win long term. You don't have to like it. You don't have to like how I sound, what I say, what I do, but you can't argue with facts. And the facts are, I'm that 1% that wins long term. So maybe pay attention a little bit and you're going to become sharper. It isn't about the result of a free bet. It's about making you sharper So hopefully going forward, I'll try to do that. And I'm talking to the 1% that actually gets it, because there were guys that came in and made me so relieved that I said, wow, we got some sharp guys that actually do watch it. So I'm talking to you guys. The other 99%, go to Sports Center. They're giving you predictions every day.
I love their predictions, VR. I live for those.
I'm tired of being politically correct, Kelly. I'm tired of being politically correct. I worked hard to be in this spot. That's why they're watching. Very
good point. And you reminded me of a few things that my Stat 350 college professor taught me about numbers. And you're right, breaking it down, you can only predict what you think is going to happen next, but eventually the math catches up with you. All right, now we only have one primetime game this week because the Chiefs-Bills game got moved to Monday night. Don't forget to check out our Monday version of Bet On It. We're going to have a doubleheader for you guys then. So we're going to move on to the Sunday night primetime game. The LA Rams at the San Francisco 49ers. This one's kind of crazy as far as line movement goes. Now, the Rams, a 3.5-point favorite on the road. Total 51, some 51.5 starting to pop up. Marco, I'm going to go to you first. Your thoughts on the Sunday night game?
Well, I'm going to open this one up, Kelly, with a saying you've heard me say a million times on the show, and it's never been more appropriate for a game than to do this one and start with, no team is as good as their best game, nor are they as bad as their worst game. And that's exactly what we have here. You've got the Rams coming off a blowout win last week, and they look good, everything, but, look at who they played. And then you look at San Francisco 49ers, and it was just, I'm sorry, it was a shit show for them last week. There's no other way to word it. Miami come in there, beat them. Was the 49ers in a bad spot? Absolutely. They were coming off the Philadelphia game the week before on a Sunday night, sandwiched that one in between with a game this week on Sunday night, a division game against the Rams. Did they get caught looking ahead? Yeah. Why didn't I have that as the sandwich spot last week? Well, I had one that I thought I liked better, plus the fact they were coming off a loss. Had they beaten Philadelphia on that Sunday night game and had this one on deck, then I would have been full bore in the sandwich spot with them. But I didn't expect them to lay a total egg off the loss. Yes, they've got a ton of injuries. And yes, on paper, this looks like they're no match for the Rams. But really, who have the Rams have beaten? And they're in a bad scheduling spot, Kelly. The Rams have been flying all over the country. They're getting frequent flyer miles. They're racking them up. They played in the last 4 weeks. They've been on the East Coast 3 times. Now they got to travel back home and play a division rival. You know how division rivalry games are. There's no love lost between these two teams. And this line is just, and we'll talk about it more about the line when we break down the big line moves. This game has been over-adjusted way, way too much, in my opinion. I'm going to go with the primetime home dog. I don't know if we'll get Kelly there or not, but primetime home dog for me in this one. I'll take the 49ers to find a way to get it done. It's only week 6, Kelly, and I hate to use this phrase, but this is an absolute must game for the 49ers. You've got the Seahawks undefeated at 5-0, and you got the Rams at 4-1. They cannot afford to lose this game if they have any shot of winning the division. Not that I think they do, but for winning the division, but in their minds, this would put the nail in the coffin.
VR, I'm kind of with Marco on this one. I have it on my long list. I haven't gotten to the window yet. I love, you just mentioned SportsCenter. I love all the narratives already swirling around that the Niners are going to move on from Jimmy G. I think that kind of adds a little extra motivation here. Do you agree with Marco and I? Well, like I said, I haven't got to the window yet, but I'm leaning that way, and probably come Sunday night I will be, that maybe we should be looking here at the Niners.
Yeah, I haven't placed a bet on this game yet. I've placed 5 NFL bets already, 5 UFC bets, a couple college football. So I've gotten some action in already. And this one's definitely one that's on my radar. I haven't bet it yet. If I do, it's going to be a play against the LA Rams, not as much as a play on San Francisco. And what I mean by that is I think the Rams are a little bit overvalued right now. Now, statistically, they look phenomenal. They're number 1 in the NFL in net yards per play. And more importantly, they're dominating on the road. They have the highest net yards per play on the road. But let's stop and look at what they've done there. They've gone 2-1 on the road. They're 3-1 overall. They've won every game they were supposed to, meaning they were favored, except Philly. That was, pretty much a pick 'em type of game, went back and forth. But if you look at the teams like Washington, New York Giants, Philadelphia, those to me aren't big wins. Where with San Francisco, yes, they're ugly losses, losing to Philadelphia, losing to Miami. But the Miami game, that kind of got away from them. I think the Philly game was more a one-score loss, could go either way. Again, they didn't play great, but I do think Rams are a little overvalued in this spot. They're better than we thought they were for the season. Let's face that. But I don't think they're as good as they're being made out to be. This would be a bet against them that the adjustment just isn't warranted. I won't go as far as saying San Francisco should be favored in this spot at home, but I'm not too sure they should be an underdog either. Because of that, I think the value's on San Francisco.
All right. Speaking of, maybe just unwarranted, we're going to go inside the Westgate here next segment after we step out for a quick commercial break.
Every Monday at wagertalk.com, all plays are just $9. This even includes top-rated 5% plays, which normally sell for $40. There's no better day to get winning picks than $9 Mondays at wagertalk.com and our sister site, sportsmemo.com.
Football is here, and the Gold Sheet, the nation's oldest sports betting newsletter, is back for its 63rd year, bigger and better than ever. Gold Sheet has a new, improved web-based, mobile-friendly format that includes all of the winning information you rely on with the easiest access ever. While the format is new, all of the features you are accustomed to are still there. That's right, analysis on every pro and college game, key release selections, updated power ratings on every team, point spread logs for all NFL and college teams, and all college football games through May 2021 will be included. To celebrate joining the Wager Talk family, we are offering our subscribers our best deal ever. Sign up for a season of any Gold Sheet product and get $200 in wager bucks as a bonus. Wager bucks can be used to purchase handicapping information from any of our 40-plus experts on Wager Talk or sportsmemo.com. Head to goldsheet.com/wagertalk for any subscription and bonus details. All right, it's now time for Inside the Numbers. That's the Westgate look-ahead lines. Those are a 12-day number. That means the lines for those games get put out before this week's games even get played. So we have to kind of sift through it. I'm going to ask both the guys what they think on if some of these moves are warranted. Marco, I'm going to go to you first. Cleveland at Pittsburgh. Both these teams got it done for me on Sunday, but Pittsburgh opened -5.5, now down to 3.5.
Kelly, I'm all over my Pittsburgh Steelers knowing what's going on. And I got to be honest with you, this line's got me baffled. You look at it, that opening number of 5.5, both teams won last week. It's not like one team won and one team lost to see an overreaction to something. Are people overreacting to the fact that Cleveland was such a, winner over what was perceived to be a much better team in the Indianapolis Colts? That's a possibility. But look at the Steelers. It's not like they didn't get the job done, and they had a 17-point lead. It got a little dicey there at the end, but then they got the win, put that late touchdown, made you happy. I see 5.5 to 3.5. I don't think this is justified. I have not decided on a side in this game yet. We'll see what happens come later in the week as I put it all together. But for me, I don't see this being a justified move.
All right, the Cincinnati Bengals at the Indianapolis Colts. Indianapolis Colts get brought back to life by those Cleveland Browns. They opened as a 9.5-point favorite, now down to 8. VR, can you talk about whether that move is significant and whether it's warranted?
It's significant because it's sharp money behind it. I can tell you multiple groups bet the Cincinnati Bengals. I released that to my subscribers, and we're going to touch on that. I think I gave it out as this week's theme play as well, because it is a legit move. We bet it at 8.5, bet it at 8. Now it's down to 7.5. I do think it is warranted. I mean, listen, Cincinnati got blown out by Baltimore, but prior, they've been in games, meaning even when they lose, they've been competitive, where we saw the Colts, get kind of exploited last week against Cleveland. I agree with it. Obviously, I bet it, and I do think it's warranted as well. I like the Cincy side this week.
Yeah, I'm looking at it here going, man, you'd think the books want to protect themselves from that Colts teaser. But yeah, as you mentioned, sharp money coming in. They're going to protect themselves from that even more so. All right, Marco, Green Bay, wow, have they just really shocked me this year at Tampa Bay? And I think Tampa Bay is who I said they were always going to be, but Tampa was a 3-point favorite. Now Green Bay is 1.5, 2, depending on where you shop. Your thoughts on the Bucs now catching points at home?
Yeah, I know. We'll get bashed again because I'm going to say something bad about Green Bay, but this isn't warranted for this line to move like this. First of all, Green Bay didn't play last week, okay? So their stock can't go up or down from what it was. And Tampa Bay, yeah, they lost. They lost on the road in a tight game with the Bears, a play that we all were on. We all liked the Bears in that game. It was a spot for them playing on a short week. Have a team that you're not familiar with, Tampa Bay playing Chicago on the road. We always talk about the disadvantage to the road team on Thursday nights. So I really don't think this is a justified move for me. I think there's tons of value on the home side here with Tampa.
All right, VR, I know we've already spoke about this game because it is a Sunday night game, but something to really look at. San Fran was a 3-point favorite. They get beat up really bad by the Dolphins, and the Rams beat the Redskins. Whoop-de-doo. But now the Rams are a 3.5-point road favorite to a divisional rival.
Yeah, and if you couple in the injuries, followed by the fact that the market always overreacts, then you can say maybe it's slightly warranted or justified. But again, I think it's a complete overreaction. What surprises me, though, is that we didn't see immediate sharp money pounce on the San Francisco side, meaning this is now above a key number of 3. What are you waiting for? Are you waiting for better? Are you waiting for 4? Is there really a difference? Meaning if you're looking to make a plus EV bet, you're getting the best side of 3. Is it going to become positive EV at 4 or 4.5 if it's not at 3.5? That's not the case. It's just not how it works. So for me, that's why I've passed so far, is to see what do these guys, who I know have more resources than me, more contacts than me, and access to better information than I have, why they don't see that same value on San Francisco I see. Again, until I do, and it confirms my suspicions, I have no reason to bet it, but I don't think it's warranted.
All right, we'll keep an eye on that one. But first, we're going to go to our teasers. These guys have been absolutely killing the teasers. I've been really happy because they've been helping me save a little bit of face. Marco, we're going to go to your teaser first.
All right, Kelly, and for me, this is just a basic teaser. It's a no-brainer for me. We'll start with that first one and look at Chicago going to Carolina. And, I'm getting them over the key numbers. We're teasing the Chicago Bears up. And I like to talk about anytime I can get an underdog with a better defense, I'm going to look at it. And now I'm going to get an underdog with a better defense in a lower price game total-wise, which means points should be at a premium here. I take it from the 2.5 up to 8.5. That gets me through the numbers of 3, 4, 6, and 7. That's all I can ask for. I'll take the Bears. And let's face it, the defense of the Bears, we know it's always been there. Nick Foles will get better each week as he gets more comfortable with the offense. Remember, last week was his first actual start for the Bears. He came in relief. Now he's had extra days from a Thursday night game to play on Sunday. So that's an added benefit. Go to the second half of my teaser, and we've already talked about this game some, and that's value on the Tampa Bay Bucs. Now that you've made them a home underdog in this game, I'm going to tease them up and get them over the touchdown. You know how I feel about Green Bay. Yeah, they're undefeated, but they've played one of the easiest schedules in the NFL. And you look at the offensive numbers that Aaron Rodgers is putting up. Kelly, I think you could get some decent numbers against the defenses he's faced so far this year. 4 pretty bad defenses, so I am not that impressed. I'll take the over touchdown here with Tampa Bay, and that's my two-teamer. Looks like a no-brainer, but it's Chicago and Tampa, and sometimes, keep it simple, stupid simple.
There you go. I like it. I just plugged that in for myself, Marco. Like I said, the teasers have just been really rocking and rolling this year, and we're going to keep it going. VR, who is your teaser for NFL Week 6?
Yeah, if you want to know how I look at teasers, just look at any week 1 through 5 of Bet on it, and it's well explained. So here, I have a $1,000 open-end teaser with the Saints. I haven't filled it in yet for my subscribers, but for the show, the 2-team teaser I'm going to give out, may fill it in with one of these 2 teams. First, Baltimore, they're 7.5. So obviously we're getting through the key number of 7, through the key number of 3, where all they have to do is more or less win the game at Philadelphia. Baltimore knows they have to keep pace with Kansas City, with the Pittsburgh Steelers, who they have on deck. They have a bye week, and then they have the Pittsburgh Steelers. So look for Baltimore to want to get that win going into the bye before they play the Steelers. It doesn't get easier for them. Then they play the Colts. They play New England. So this is a winnable game for them. And then I'm going to tie it in with the Dallas Cowboys. We're going to have to wait till Monday Night Football. But on the simple fact that we have Dallas at 2.5 dog, we're able to get the 3, able to get the 7 by teasing them up all the way to 8.5. I don't think the line move is warranted. I get it. We don't have Dak Prescott, but we arguably have the most serviceable second string quarterback in the NFL, at least experience-wise, in Dalton. So I don't think it's a bad switch. Again, you got to adjust, but I don't think it's that significant. So let's add Dallas to that. So we're going Baltimore -1.5 and Dallas +8.5, 2-team teaser.
All right, VR, I'm with you on both of those as well. We're going to take a quick commercial break, but when we return, is the deli open? Does Marco have a trap game? VR kind of already alluded to his Steam game. And then, of course, some TNA with Ralph Michaels.
Have you checked out Wager Talk today? It's Sports Center for gamblers. Watch Teddy Covers and the Prez along with expert guests, a bookmaker, and Ralph Michaels as they break down the games for that day. The show airs Monday through Friday from noon to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This show will give you betting insights for all the key games that day and advanced looks at key weekend games in every major sport. Wager Talk today will tell you how to bet the games, where the money is going, and who the wise guys are playing. Teddy and the Prez are a must-watch as their chemistry or lack of is entertaining as hell. So if you want to laugh, have fun, and make money, check out Wager Talk today, weekdays from noon to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Get $25 in WagerBucks added to your account after your first purchase at wagertalk.com and sportsmemo.com. This is just our way of saying thank you for joining the Wager Talk and Sports Memo family.
Welcome back to Bet on It. We're going to start with VR and his notorious Steam game of the week. You guys, these have been absolutely crushing it. It's always nice to know where the big movers are coming from. VR, you have the floor.
Yeah, and this is usually one I wouldn't use, and that's why I'm actually using it, because it is sharp, meaning I thought the line was a little high, where I thought even the public may think Cincinnati's attractive. But when I saw multiple groups come in, I said, I got to share this info. And the more I dug, the more it made sense, because again, the Rams analytics are off the charts. They're the highest net yards per play. That's awesome. But it's the level of opposition. You can only play who's in front of you, and they've done a good job of beating those teams, but not the best opponents. And even though Cincinnati's a lower tier team, they're young. They give you 60 minutes of effort. And when you're getting over a touchdown, the back door stays open. And I think after being embarrassed by 3+ touchdowns last week, you're going to get a Cincinnati team that's as competitive as they were against Philadelphia, Jacksonville, and Cleveland, games that they lost and still covered the spread.
All right, Marco, this has been a really fun one with your sandwich and traps. You've kept me off a couple of these, and we did cash the Titans in a sandwich game. Even though the game got rescheduled, we still got the money. Congratulations to you. Is the deli open? Is the trap? What do we got here? Because I have a couple of trap games written down for myself, so I'm kind of curious to see where we're headed.
All right, Kelly. Well, I'll tell you what, we're going with the trap game here. If I use this one in the deli, and it didn't go well, the deli might get closed permanently. We know the governor, of the lockdown on everything. So I can't risk that. This is a trap game. And, it's fun, Kelly, every week when I go in and look at the YouTube comments. And, guys, we want you to comment, good or bad. We want you to comment. And I try to stop by and, chat with you guys. And, people aren't shy about telling me when they don't like one of my picks, and they're not going to like this one. Okay. I'm not sure if I like even saying it, but I got to do what I got to do. And we're going to look at the New York Jets. Yes. The Jets, Jets. Kelly,
oh God,
there is not an uglier team in football right now. Okay.
No, there's not.
And all right. And we're going to use the old adage. We talked about it when we talked about San Francisco, and it involves one of the teams here. No team is as good as their best game, nor are they as bad as their worst game. And obviously, Miami had their best game of the season last week at the expense of the San Francisco 49ers. Everybody's going to look at that game. They're going to look at how they trounced them. And now you got Fitzmagic coming back home, playing the Jets, and that's not even who they were supposed to play this week. Things got changed around because the schedule got shuffled. So it's almost like you got dealt a bye week. All you got to do is show up. You're going to win the game. Congratulations, Miami Dolphins. Take the week off. Read those press clippings. Look at the highlights from last week's game. Enjoy it. I want you to, because I want you to come in flatter than a frickin' pancake this week, and the Jets get the money. They're +8. They don't have to win this game, Kelly. And how many teasers are going to have the Miami Dolphins
just getting ready
teased?
to follow up with you. As we're shooting, I just looked. It already went to 9. The books are already trying to protect themselves in those teasers.
Yeah, there's good. Everybody and their brother that plays a teaser is going to want to take Miami. I'm not going to do it, even though that looks like an automatic. We never use that word on this show. Lock. Just beat the Jets. When it is that easy, it's just too easy. And let's look at what happened this week, Kelly. You and I's favorite running back. Bye-bye, Le'Veon. See ya. Hit the road. Don't let the door hit you in the butt on the way out. Is a good message to the rest of this Jet team. Whether you like them or you don't, and I'm not a fan of Adam Gase, so don't give me any hate mail there. I'm not a fan of his. But the one thing that happened this week that shows who's the boss, you know what? I don't care if you're a superstar or not. If you're going to rock the boat, you can rock it right out the door. And that's a good point. And not that he's the greatest game planner, but if there's any team you should be able to have a game plan for, it should be the team that you coached for how many years? I'm going to take the Jets plus the points. This is the biggest trap of the week. Hold your nose, put sunglasses on, whatever you got to do to get to the window. You don't want people to recognize you playing the Jets. That's fine. It's okay. You can, be, a closet better on the Jets this week. But you know what? When you go cash that ticket, wave it proud, baby. Wave it proud. We're going to New York Jets. Plus the points, trap game of the week. Yes, I'm going to get all kinds of trash on Twitter and YouTube. And you know what? If the Jets win, we might break Twitter on Sunday.
If they win, I might be in a world of hurt because I put in Miami in my survivor pools. I know you guys see this background behind me and it looks blue because it's a green screen, but it reminds me of the chalkboard in The Simpsons when he's writing things he will not do. And I tweeted this 3 weeks ago when I had the Jets. I will not bet the Jets. I will not bet the Jets, like over and over and over again. Marco, damn it. I don't want to bet the Jets.
Sorry.
All right. Maybe after a couple cocktails on Friday night, I'll grow a pair and put some money on the Jets. It is now time for all of our favorite guy, Mr. Ralph Michaels, with some TNA. Mr. Ralph Michaels at Cal Sports LV, giving out all the trends and angles all day, every day on Twitter. I wake up in the morning and I see that you've already got a full slate of info for me, Ralph, for me to digest. What have you dug up this week? It looks like a laundry list of trends and angles for our guests.
Well, first, I just want to go back to the basics, Cal. We didn't know how much home field was going to be affected in the NFL with COVID and some fans and limited fans and others and no fans in some places. So home teams the first 2 weeks We're 16-14 against the spread with 2 pushes. Home teams since that time, 9-17-2, only 34.6%. So road teams hitting 63% the last couple weeks. Just keep that in the top of your list. All right, let's break down 05 teams. How about if I told you this? If you blindly played every 0-5 team since 1989, you are 62.1%. So there's a period of time there where you become a bad team, and then after 0-4, perhaps you become a very embarrassed team, or perhaps another team is now getting tired and may start looking past you. But again, since 1989, if you blindly played every 0-5 team, you have won 62%. Since 2015, when they moved the extra point back, there have been 8 times teams have been 0-5. They have gone 6-2, 75%. That, of course, the Giants, Atlanta, and the New York Jets. At home, not so good, 17-13, 56%. On the road, and Kelly, you and I have talked about this a lot. If you're a bad team and your fans are on you, it's actually an advantage to get away from home and play better and bond. 0-5 road teams, 24-12, 67% against the spread. Only 13 times has an 0-5 team been favored. They've only gone 6-7 ATS, but since 2000, they have won all 9 of their games. So the Giants find themselves as an 0-5 favorite. Those teams have won 9 straight. How about teams in week 6 that have 0 losses? And I use 0 losses and not the word 5-0 because some buys start to pop in. So you could have 4-0 teams or 5-0 teams. So since 1991, teams with 0 losses in week 6 are only 42% against the spread. 21 wins, 29 losses. At home, 10-15. As a home favorite with no losses and excluding double-digit favorites, so if you're a dog or a small favorite, you are 7-14 against the spread, 33%. Any thoughts about 0-5s or 5-0s?
You know, that's really interesting because I was looking at football team for this weekend. Don't ask me why. And a play on this Giants team that I thought really superseded expectations last week. Plus, you know, I love catching points in a divisional game. That 9-0 is really interesting, though. That may end up keeping me off a bad team like the Redskins. And then, as you mentioned, since 91, undefeated teams, or however you want to word them, the Packers this week is a really interesting public play. Kind of has me looking towards the Bucs now.
You know, one thing I will point out, and I didn't break this out, but I think there's a big difference being an 0-5 Giants team with a first-year head coach learning a new system and an 0-5 team like the Falcons that fired their coach. You know, you have a new head coach, he's building. You expect there to be a transition, learning his schemes. So the Giants, who have covered back-to-back games very impressively, you know, in my mind, I agree with that thought. They are a different mentality with a first-year head coach because they are still building for the future with, you know, a quarterback that they know is going to be there versus Atlanta is the completely other side. You have a 37-year-old quarterback who's probably not going to be there with a new head coach and a new GM. You know, one of my favorite systems, I may have mentioned this in the past, I just want to mention it again. Teams that were home last week are on the road this week, and they're playing a team that allowed 400 or more yards. It's that simple. Over the last few years, so if you're on the road, you're off a home game, and your opponent allowed over 400 yards, you are 70.1% against the spread. That's Washington and Detroit. So there's that Washington team you were looking at again. Detroit, again, an ugly team. I'm not sure if I can play Detroit as an away favorite with what they've done. But again, the system is simple. You were at home 2 games ago. You are now on the road, and your opponent allowed over 400 yards. This isn't really a system, but I wanted to look it up. Teams that have won back-to-back-to-back games as a dog, like Carolina, only 25 times in the last 18 years has that happened. So it happens maybe once a year. And Carolina has done that. They pulled the upset back-to-back-to-back games. Those teams have gone 10 and 15 ATS. And if they're a favorite like they are with Carolina, they've gone 2 and 10. So Panthers in a position after pulling the upset 3 straight games, they are now in the favorites role. So we'll see what happens. And just a couple team angles to finish this up. Cincinnati, to me, it's an anomaly. If a team is 0-14-1 on the road their last 15 games, you think they're going to play poorly, and it's not a team you look to play on the road. But those Bengals that haven't won a road game in 15 games are actually 10-2-1 as an away dog, covering 83%. So something that I look at from both angles, Cincinnati's the anomaly in that. I want to remind you the Ravens, 11-1-1 ATS on the road, 13-0 if you tease them on the road. So again, Baltimore on the road playing defense when your line isn't inflated has done great. For Monday night, a couple things I want to bring up, and they actually go against each other, but I want to bring them up, and you can decide if either is more important than the other. Since 2000, so we're going back 20 years, Monday night home dogs are only 43.3% against the spread. And since 2017, Monday night home dogs only 4, 10, and 2. Again, the last 5 years. But the Bills as a dog, 7-3-1 ATS, 11-0 if you tease them, and they are 1-10 over-under when they're a dog. The only game that went over when the Bills were an underdog was last year against New England late in the year. That score was only 24-17, but the total was 38. So you look at what the Bills do as a dog, always keep that in mind. They have been an under team in the past. Of course, they're a little more dynamic on offense this year, getting some wide receiver help and expanding the field.
As always, great stuff from Ralph Michaels. You guys should see the notes that I just took. I hope I can read that after the show at Cal Sports LV. If you have a question for Ralph's database, feel free to tweet him. He is always great at getting back to you guys. Did you know every Tuesday is $2 Tuesday at wagertalk.com? We pick the hottest handicapper and offer his best bet for just $2. This is a great way to introduce yourself to the winning handicappers at wagertalk and sportsmemo.com. Welcome back to Bet On It. I have a special guest who would like to introduce our next segment. Yeah, she's pissed. But it means it's time for the Barking Dogs. Coco in Vegas, who do you want to go to first? Okay, Marco, you're up. Who's your Barking Dog for NFL Week 6?
I'll make Coco proud. This is a real dog that I'm going with for my Barking Dog this week. We're going to take the Washington football team. Yes, I had to slow down so I didn't screw that up and say it right. It's just so weird to say Washington football team, but we are going to take them this week because everybody's going to look at the New York Giants and they're going to look, they went toe-to-toe with the Cowboys, 37-34, and they're winless. They're going to come home. They almost broke their maiden last week. They'll get it done this week. That's going to be the thought process. Well, no, it's not. First of all, let's look at who they played. They played the Cowboys, which we all know about the defensive problems the Cowboys have. The Washington Redskins actually can put pressure on a quarterback with their front seven. And I think they are going to put some pressure on Daniel Jones, something that he hasn't seen. They're also going to look at the Giants and say, well, the week before that, they gave the Rams a tussle. No, they didn't. The Rams just sleptwalked through that game. The Giants scored 9 points. The week before that, they scored 9 points to San Francisco. The same San Francisco team that, by the way, got blown out last week by the Miami Dolphins. And prior to that, they scored 13 against Chicago and 16 against Pittsburgh. So don't jump up and down and say the 34 points they scored last week, the offense has fixed all its problems. No, the offense found a defense named the Dallas Cowboys that there's no D in Big D. I am taking Washington here. I am going to look for them to get the job done. Now, you got Kyle Allen going to be a quarterback. He had to leave last week's game. Alex Smith came into the ball game. Washington never had a shot last week. Kyle Allen never had, time but he was facing the Rams in that pass rush with Darnold. I'm not looking at it this week that way. He'll have time this week against the Giants defense. I think they get the job done. I think they can win this game. I'm not backing a winless team laying points. Now, I did in my other segment, Kelly, take a winless team getting points because that's been a 62% play. But whenever it's been a favorite that's winless, that record in the same time period that I got from our buddy Ralph Michaels is just 6-7 with the favorite. So I'm not going to jump up and down and look for the Giants to get it done here. I'll take Washington. They have a win on the season, and another win. We could see the Washington Redskins as the first place. I said Redskins. I'm sorry. First place Washington football team.
You're hilarious. I do always love catching points in a divisional game. VR gave out the Giants last week. I am with you, Marco. I am against the Giants this week. VR, you also have a divisional opponent catching points this week. Who is your barking dog for NFL Week 6?
Yeah, and I agree with Marco in Washington, and just want to share real quick, one of the groups that I share plays with sent me over Washington as one of the moves they got in on. That's why I think you're looking at a lot of 2.5s right now. They're a very respected group. I didn't get the 3, so I didn't touch it myself. Great pick, Marco. I'm going to go with a side that I usually wouldn't be on because, listen, when a team has scored 30 or more points 3 straight weeks, has covered 3 straight weeks, is plus 29 ATS margin the last 3 weeks, they're usually going to be overvalued. But that's not the case with Cleveland because they're playing the undefeated Pittsburgh Steelers right now. And because of that, we're getting more points than we should. Now, we bet it at Cleveland plus 5 all the way to plus 4. I released it to my guys at plus 3.5. I think that's where it sits right now. 3.5 still available. I think this is a good spot for Cleveland. Again, Pittsburgh's been playing lights out, and they are arguably going to be one of those teams in the AFC that battles for represent the AFC in the Super Bowl. But I just think this is a good spot for Cleveland to come in there and playing well, coming off that win against Indianapolis. I think they keep it going, keep it close. They've covered, I think, 4 of the last 6 against the Steelers, so we know they play them tough. I like Cleveland plus the points in this one. I think it's a winnable game for them.
I would agree with you there, VR. I am with you.
Just to share, I haven't released it, didn't bet it myself, but Sharp Group did go over 50 in that one also. Just throwing that out there.
All right. We always appreciate any sharp information that you have. All right, it is now best bet time. I'm going to go first, and then we'll hit up Marco and finish off with VR. I am going to take the Dallas Cowboys plus 2.5. I'm pissed I did not get the 3. I waited too long, probably prepping for this damn show. It is not until Monday night. I didn't want to wait until Monday night to give it out because I do think the money is going to continue to come in on this Dallas Cowboys team. And why? Let's look at what happened last week. Dallas Cowboys lose arguably one of the best quarterbacks in the league, at least as far as QBR ratings. Dak Prescott is out. Insert, as VR said, the second best, if not the best, backup quarterback in the league. Andy Dalton was a first-string quarterback for almost a decade with the Cincinnati Bengals. He has shown numerous times he can be serviceable, and he actually brought them back in that game versus their divisional rival in the Giants. Got them the W. Now, all of a sudden, we saw the Dallas Cowboys go from a 3-point favorite to a 3-point underdog. This doesn't really make a ton of sense. Why? Because the Cardinals beat up on the Jets? What am I missing here? I think that this Cowboys team at home in primetime will get the win. I took the 2.5. I also put them in numerous teasers. Don't forget, as VR said, to sprinkle a little bit on the money line. All right, Marco, your best bet for NFL Week 6.
All right, Kelly. Oh, there's the best bets. We got the graphic there. I think we just shocked our producer that all of us went 3-0 last week with the best bets, and just, he was in awe and couldn't, get the graphic up there, but that's okay. We're just happy he hit the record button this week. So good stuff there with our producer. Love you, Joe. Guys, we've got a game that I'm going to go with, and I just want to be the first to tell everybody, watch in the mail. It's going to be coming. Kelly's going to be sending out the save the date cards because the love affair is back on. Coach Zimmer is back. Kelly's loving it. I'm loving it. And I'm loving me some Vikings this week, guys. We are going to take the Vikings and lay the points against the Atlanta Falcons. And you know what? I vowed last week, Kelly, you talked about that chalkboard where you were writing stuff last week. Well, I wrote one to myself, and I might have carpal tunnel now. I wrote so much. Do not bet the Atlanta Falcons no more. Memo to self, not happening. This team, I tweeted out at halftime, and you would say I saw the future, but I should have saw that future, at least the Falcons should have, a little bit sooner. I said, will Dan Quinn at halftime prepare a second half game plan, or will he just start cleaning out his desk now? Well, he should have used the time to get a head start on it because he was gone after the game, and he should be. And everybody's going to say, and they're going to talk about it and say, well, when a coach gets fired, it sparks the team and this and that. It does spark the team. And last week it worked with the Texans getting Bill O'Brien out of there. And so people are going to want to go to the fire, go back and see if lightning strikes twice. But if you really go back and look at it, it's not been a winning proposition just to automatically take those teams the week they fire the coach. And I just think this Atlanta Falcon team has been so bad ever since that Super Bowl loss to New England when they had the game won. They've never been the same team. And you think about it, they're just a couple years removed from a Super Bowl, and now they're staring at an 0-5 record in a division where it's not like they're in the NFC East where they can still get themselves back in it. They're toast. They're done. Their season's over. I like Minnesota. The offense has come alive. Look at what they've done the last several weeks. And they did everything but win that game on Sunday. Now, the only asterisk, if you want to put an asterisk on it, is how do they rebound after dominating that game for the whole game on Sunday? Coach Zimmer's been a guy that's always been able to bounce back after losses, and I am going to look at him to get the job done. Kelly, this is one of the reasons why the love affair started with Coach Zimmer. Do you realize that when he comes off a close loss, that means – he just disappointed you, Kelly, a little bit. He only lost by 6 points or less. They come back 13-2 since he's been coach of the Minnesota Vikings. 13-2 against the spread following a close loss. I am going to get on board. I'm going to ride Coach Zimmer and just I will save the date, Kelly. Minnesota Vikings.
You should save the date, and I'd like to defend my man's honor really quick against Twitter, who – when I said Coach Zimmer knows, now before we even got there, that kicking is for losers, he made the right call. He needed a half a yard to put that game out of reach. If he kicked the field goal, it doesn't matter. Russell Wilson still goes down there. They still get the 2-point conversion. And now where are we? Overtime? My man, Coach Zimmer, made the right call. VR, who is your best bet for NFL Week 6?
All right. I absolutely love this side, and I released it to subscribers. It would have been a 5% play. The only reason it's a 4 is because I knew the line's going to move, and not everybody's going to get down at the same number. And by Sunday, even less will get the good number. And that's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, you could grade it at 1.5, 2, 2.5, what have you. I waited. When it went to -2.5, -120 in so many spots, I said, we got to jump in and grab that +3 by the hook at a discount. There's just a ton of value. But I would place that same bet at +2.5 because I think Tampa Bay's the right side. Listen, Green Bay has outperformed the betting market. We know that. They've outperformed even expectations to date. They did that last year as well. But what they haven't been able to do is, even though they're 2-0 on the road, that's the one place where the analytics just don't support them. In fact, again, they're third in net yards per play in the NFL. Now we have 5 games in there. We have enough data where these things start to matter. 2.0 at home, -0.7 on the road. 3x worse when they're on the road net yards per play. That's going to catch up with them eventually and force some losses. Tampa Bay. They should be undefeated in this, they should be coming into this game off a win. The reason they lost against Chicago is they settled for 4 field goals, they fumbled twice, and I think they went 50% in the red zone. Returning home, I think Tampa gets the win. Getting points is a gift. Also, Sharps did go over 52. They steamed over 53. I didn't get involved early, so I missed out. I didn't touch the total, but that's my best bet for this week. Tampa Bay Buccaneers to bounce back and get the cover.
VR, that whole time I was waiting to see the sprinkle action. Really quick, can you talk about it?
Oh, that's automatic. It's automatic if it's a dog in the NFL.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify that because I'm looking here for a 3-teamer for this week, and I'm like, plus 115. Do I just take it?
Oh, yeah.
All right, guys. We are going to, again, bring you our special segment when we return for our college best bets. We have a quick commercial break, and when we come back, I'm just curious to see, really short college card, who the guys like.
If you've been watching Bet On It, you know that Marco's weekly NFL best bet is 4-0-1 on the show. Since the end of September, Marco's premium plays are winning at a 60% rate. Going back to last season, Marco is 48-32 with his last 80 plays in college and pro football. That's 60% winners. This Sunday, Marco is releasing his 5% NFL high roller play. Get all of Marco's Sunday's NFL plays highlighted by Marco's 5% NFL Game of the Month for only $39.
All right, you guys asked for it. Now, while we're not doing a college football edition of Bet On It, and maybe not going to do it at all this year just based on the college schedule and everything being ever changing, we are still going to bring you our best bets. We went 2-1 last week. VR, it is time to redeem yourself this week with your college best bet.
I hit my college best bet last week. Come on.
I was the Marco then.
I was going to give 2 picks to redeem myself. I'm like, let me give 2 picks and try to come out ahead. I love these spots in college football. This is the 3rd week for a couple of these teams, and we're not exactly confirmed how good or how bad a team is. And that's where you could get some value. I'm going to look to Cincinnati versus Tulsa. Now, Cincinnati's looked perfect as far as straight up. They're 3-0. They won the games they're supposed to, but they were double-digit favorites in every single game. They were supposed to win these games. In fact, the betting market concluded they were 80-90% implied probability they'll win these games. That's what they did. But they underperformed against the betting market. So maybe they're not as good as we think they are. Now, on the flip side, Tulsa's 1-1. But what Tulsa's done is they were huge dogs in both their games. In fact, they were 3-touchdown underdogs in both their games. They won one of those outright. And the second game, they only lost by 9 points, a little more than 1 score, getting 24. That's a team that's a lot better than the market thinks they are right now. So for me, being able to get Tulsa +3 at home screams of value. I'm on Tulsa for this week. I don't think they need the 3 points, but I'll take it anyway. Tulsa's the pick.
I like it. I actually just locked that one in. Thank you, VR. Maybe I'll put Tulsa in my little money line parlay. Marco, you are up next. Who is your best bet for college week number? I don't even know what week of college we're on.
Well, for us, it's week 2 as far as the show goes, because as you pointed out, yes, I was the loser on the best bets last week on college football. I am officially 0-1 for the season on college best bets. I am 4-0-1 on the NFL best bets. Just slide that in there, Kelly. But I'm going to go to a total, Kelly. And you know what? Right before we went on the air, when I said who my play was, your knee-jerk reaction was, wow, 75, that's a big total. You know what? That's what most people look at totals and they see that and say, wow. But you know what? In college football, it really isn't. There have been a lot of games in the 70s in college football, especially the last 3-4 years. And we look at these two teams, and people are going to look at just the last scores. Both teams in their last game, I think it was 57 points in the Memphis game total, and I think they got to 60 in the Central Florida game. And they're going to say, why is this 75? It's because both teams play the same style. They play fast and they move the football up the field. When you look at Central Florida, 3 games this year, they have run 92, 87, and 85 offensive plays. They want to get to the line and they want to snap the football. And that quick pace, and when you have an offense that is very good, you're going to score quick. You're getting quick drives, you're getting scores, and then you're putting your defense back out on the field. Well, what the coaches aren't realizing is it's hurting your defenses. Your defenses aren't playing well because you're playing too many minutes per game simply because you're running so many offensive plays. It's not like you're running 90 plays and taking the play clock down. You're scoring quick and you're going at a fast pace, and boom, you're back out there. Your defense can't make the stops, and they're going to be facing a Memphis team that, although last game they only scored 27 points, it was a game that I was involved in, and I did have a loser in that game. They turned the football over 4 times. They had a sloppy first half, and then they had a costly fumble at the end of the game when they were driving for the winning score. The game was tied. They were already in field goal range, maybe going to, punch it in for the touchdown, fumbled it and turned around, went the other way, lose on the last second field goal. They can't stop anybody. SMU went up and down the field on them. Central Florida will do the same this week. But Memphis, after that first quarter where they got the bugs worked out, remember, they had a lot of cancellations this year due to COVID. Their opponents had to cancel games, and Memphis went a month in between their first game and their second game. So that was a problem with some of the rustiness and not tackling and mistakes. I see a more efficient offense this week, both teams going up and down the field. And you look at Memphis, they've put up over 500 yards in both of their games. And as I said, they had a month in between. That ruins continuity. I look for them. They're back on a normal schedule. They get the job done. They'll score their share, and Memphis and Central Florida will score their share as well. Look for both of these two teams to go up and down the field. I am seeing this game, Kelly, in the 40s. Both teams to be able to hit 40 in this game. So I'm projecting 83 points or more. We're going over that 75. No problem. Take the over, Rover.
I like it, Marco. I know it is always shocking to see lines that high, and we saw lines that high in the Red River rivalry last week. And guess what? That game was played into the 90s. I'm going to take a team. Well, this is more of a play against a team I took last week. If you guys follow me in the Las Vegas Review Journal contest, I did take Auburn. I laid the points. This Auburn team was up 17 points in the second quarter. And then all of a sudden, at the end of the game, needed a field goal to fend off the Arkansas Razorbacks. You were talking about defense, Marco. Auburn's defense isn't good. You know what else isn't good? Their quarterback, Bo Nix. Just over 56% of his passes right now in these first 3 games. Look, I know he's thrown the ball a ton, but he cannot complete just 597 yards. Look, this Auburn team is not good. The South Carolina team has some issues of its own, but catching 3 at home, they've shown me some moments of greatness. I have no confidence in this Auburn offense or defense. I think South Carolina can hang with them. Give me the +3. Sprinkle a little bit on that money line for the home team. And that is our best bets for college football. Week number 2, we're going to call it, because that's the only number of weeks we've been doing it here on Bet On It. When we return, we're going to do the recap and give you guys all the plays for NFL Week 6.
This Saturday, Gianni will be releasing a 5% big move. You can get this 5% winner and all of Gianni's other college football plays on Saturday for just $39. Over his last 50 premium plays in college football, Gianni has cashed 63% of the time, going 32-19. Gianni has turned a profit at Wager Talk in both 2018 and 2019. In 2020, his clients are up over 100%. Don't miss a single college football winner on Saturday with Gianni's College Football All Access Pass.
Thanks for hanging out with us for NFL Week 6. Now we're going to recap Marco and Gianni's plays for this week. All right, Sunday Night Football. We have the Niners. Look, a little scary, but both guys say that there's a slight overreaction here. Now, neither one of them have gotten to the window just yet, but keep an eye out on that game. As far as teasers, Marco's got the Bears and the Bucks. I already played that one. VR has got the Ravens and the Cowboys. The Cowboys will be in every single one of my teasers this week. As far as barking dogs go, that Marco's trap game of the week. Oh, Lordy. I don't even want to say it. It's the Jets. Scares me. But hang tight because this one's already up to 9. We may see even 9.5 or higher by kickoff. VR gave out the Steam game of the week. We're a little late to the party, but it is the Cincinnati Bengals still at 7.5, so there's still some value there. Speaking of value, the barking dogs, VR gave out the Browns now down to 3.5. Marco, another ugly play. Why does he want to do this to me? The Washington Football Redskins, those guys. All jokes aside, our best bets for NFL Week 6. Marco is on my boy, Coach Zimmer and the Vikings. VR is on Tom Brady and the Bucs to bounce back at home. And I am on the Cowboys for Monday Night Football. As far as college football goes, VR said, don't forget to sprinkle a little money line on those Tulsa Hurricanes. Marco said 75 points, still not enough in the UCF Memphis game. And I am on South Carolina at home over the Auburn Tigers. Thank you guys for hanging out with us this week. Make sure you guys tune in each and every Wednesday. We're giving you guys our favorite picks for the NFL and just a little bit for college football. Until next week, good luck, and don't forget to bet on it.